Many people starting out on their fresh new property are trying to understand their landscape, but also trying to figure out maybe what they want to build for a structure. And a lot of times we're looking at things on the cheap, or save as many dollars as we can. But this is a project that might give people some inspiration or some ideas, because this is as simple as sustainable living gets. So I'm actually here on our client's property, and we're on week 3 of this challenge build. So let's get into where we're at. What's going on, everyone? I'm Brandon, and this is the 90-day earthbag challenge. So I've taken on a massive permaculture project for a living space that's for a client. And we've already gotten a mass amount of work done in the previous video, which covered about 2 work weeks or 10 days realistically. So we've got 10 days down, and now we're gonna be entering our 3rd week. But this will be the 3rd week, counting day 11 through, what is this? All right, so welcome to my job. And for those that are new, I've taken on this challenge, which I've begun to make into a video series. And this is a brand new, fresh property for them. So first and foremost, we're taking into account the permaculture principles of water, access, and structures. And so we are starting with the structures aspect here. And that's where in the previous video, I didn't actually fully explain that we're gonna be doing the work and counting our days by the regular work week. So 1 week is gonna equate to 5 days, essentially. And so the first video, we've already gone through 2 weeks worth or 10 days worth of work. And I've shown the amount of work that I've been able to get done in that time frame. And what's been nice is that this area is a little bit easier to dig. We have a bit softer soil to work with, less rocks and less gravel. But the little gravel that there is, I've been able to rake up and get into bags so that we can lay our first layer of bags for the foundation and get our circle a little more outlined. And so that required a lot of digging at first just to get everything leveled out and even. And before even all the digging, I had to do all of the planning. So we had to make sure we knew where our property lines were, our setback lines to make sure we're not too close to the property line with these. But then also we're choosing the right spot that's not in a flood zone or high enough up on the landscape to not get flooded out. And with any structure, we needed building plans. So I ended up drawing out the building plans and at least got a scale of the double domes. So we're kind of creating a little bit of a passive solar effect with these 2 domes. And now we're entering this 3rd week here, and the week has started off with more digging, which I actually got the 2nd dome circle carved out and leveled out, and then got our gravel bags together, and now we've got that ring set up with the gravel bags and ready to finish digging out the rest of it. So that's what we're gonna be spending a lot more of the time doing, because we're trying to sink the dome down as far as we can. With the softer soil and more clay-like soil that we have on this landscape, it makes it a little bit easier to dig. But actually, as I've been digging more and more in these areas, the farther down I've gotten, the more I've realized that I'm starting to run into more gravel, more rocks, more caliche chunks. And so now that's actually making it a little bit slower digging, which the positive to that is that I'm still able to dig, so it's only just making the digging go a little bit slower. And that's the goal of what I'm trying to shoot for with this, is I'm trying to actually dig down and see where I do hit and then level everything out down below, and then we'll be able to build up the sandbags from there. And the logic behind that is if we can dig down far enough, then that just actually cuts out a lot more work of building up the sandbags and building up to the roof. Another reason for digging down too, as far as we can, is just the fact that we're gonna be able to get all this material. And not only that, it's gonna be material that's close by to where we're gonna be laying the bags. So it's kind of a double whammy, and it's kind of up to individuals to figure out, what best approach you wanna take. But for me, I think this is the best approach, because otherwise we're just gonna end up going out and doing earthworks to get the material we need to fill the bags. And then we're actually still gonna need more material to even backfill. So I think this is the better approach, because either way, we're still gonna be doing some rainwater harvesting structures, but also gathering a lot of that material for back burying both of these domes. I'm sure there's some people that just probably think, why not just rent an excavator or call somebody or a friend to bring over an excavator or a backhoe or something. And I guess honestly, we can do that, that's definitely an option that's still on the table. There's really no rules for this challenge per se. But at the same time, I do want to kind of showcase just how much effort it takes for one person to do this kind of a project. So it just gives people a better idea, I think, on the scale of the project, but also just, you know, the amount of labor and the amount of work that goes into all of this. But also, I think it's a pretty big cost saver. I mean, then at the same time, we don't have to spend a whole lot of money on renting an excavator or a backhoe, and then also having to pay for the gas and then transporting it here and dealing with a whole lot of other stuff, paperwork, and then returning it back to them. So it makes it a little bit more personalized, because now we're kind of putting our own sweat equity into the project here. But then it's also nice because now we get to actually listen to the landscape. We can hear nature, and it's not really diluted by the sound of heavy machinery. So I kind of like the trade-off a little bit. But obviously this is still hard work, and it definitely takes a lot of work to do, but just little steps at a time. I think that's the big thing. Little steps, and every drop wears away at the stone, right? Getting tired, but I'm almost done. I finally finished. Now I was able to sink this down another level, so I think we've got maybe a little over a foot that we've gotten down below the bag level. So we can see the middle, we can see the middle chunk that I left with the rebar in it. We can see that's how much earth hit. We can see that's how much I've excavated out of this little circle here. So it's nice that we have this done now. Getting tired. I think this is as far as I can go, because I'm starting to hit just larger boulders, larger rocks. And I think a couple of these spots in here I'm just running into, it's just a solid rock shelf or something like that. I'm not gonna be able to dig. So I think this will be the final layer. And then that just means now we'll be able to work on